Lithium City is a fast-paced neon action fighting game where you've got 6 chapters at present. I have just seen that they are planning on adding an update with 3 more chapters, and it's a really fun game, so having more content is just amazing. I was wanting more, and now they're bringing more. Each chapter adds different elements to the game, with the first being essentially a tutorial, but then you go into brawling and fighting, and then you get introduced to different firearms, and then you get grenades thrown in and stronger enemies and increasing waves of enemies, until eventually at the end of the game you get crazy things like tron flying discs and huge waves of enemies and just a massive onslaught of things. There's even a scene where you need to outrun a helicopter that's firing down at you, and it just captures like the Neon Tokyo sort of aspect and just really brilliant visuals to the game, but really fun gameplay as well. And it's challenging at times, so you're going to be competing against yourself, especially with the final boss. The final boss is a huge challenge with its abilities and the sword fighting, but it just feels so good, the gameplay and the elements of it, and it definitely does leave you wanting more. So I'm very much looking forward to the 3 new chapters that they're going to be adding. I'm wondering where they can go from here, because they did a good job of keeping it, adding new elements, adding more weaponry, and you want more, like at the end you end up with like some really overpowered firearms and different things like that. So I wonder what else they could add, because every new chapter has those new things. So 3 more chapters, they've got to add more weapons, more enemy varieties, and more of a challenge. So yeah, although it was relatively short, taking about 2 to 3 hours to complete, it's a pretty cheap game. And the fact that they're adding essentially 50% more content to the game, so that's going to be 4.5 to 5 hours then perhaps of gameplay for essentially £5.50. That's a really good price, and that's a full price. So, I would definitely recommend this game, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's such a fun game that it's hard to underestimate how fun it is. The stylistic Neon Tokyo vibe that sort of feels a bit like anime sort of style in its own sort of way, with, punks and robots and different things. They've done it really good. Now, there are some elements like dodging, and you've got a zip dash that you can just teleport across the map essentially in parts for your distance, and you have to use that in different things, especially on the conveyor belt level, where it's kind of teaching you to move around and you have to dodge some of the enemy attacks. And when there's an onslaught of weapons and grenades and everything going off and chaos all around you, the dodge is definitely recommended to stay alive. It can be a little punishing, putting you back to the beginning of the chapter if you die, especially early on, but later it's a bit too generous in my opinion, because you've got used to being reset to do the whole floor, and then when it becomes really challenging, you just have that room to do. And you can go back through, you do respawn at the beginning of the area, and there might be the odd like gun person, but not the challenge that you had before to go through, and you don't have to go collect all the keys to unlock things and things like that. So I do question why they took it easy on you later, because I was expecting it to keep the challenge, and I was like the challenge. I think it was possible to do the harder stuff without dying throughout every single room, and it would have extended the gameplay, but I can see where they went with the choice to make sure that it was very approachable and user friendly. And they also did a very good job of making sure that each chapter had its own unique setting, so it does feel very different as you traverse the different areas. They all look very different, the landscapes look very different, even though essentially you are in just, isometric rooms for the entire game. It's done such a brilliant job of it that, I definitely recommend going and getting this game. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing more. And, like I said, I was looking forward to seeing more, and they've added 3 new chapters to it. So, well, they're developing them. And I was expecting, hey, if I want more, it's got to be a sequel. But when it's coming in just as a free update, then, wow, I could not recommend this more, because it's such a fun and amazing game.